Starting things off with Mario, he should casually be universal, and anything lower than that is pretty dishonest. The reason for this is because in Super Mario 64, power stars were capable of creating entire planets with bottomless spaces, meaning that power stars are casually planetary and potentially universal due to creating infinite or limitless spaces, with grand stars being confirmed to be more powerful than power stars, with Mario defeating many opponents powered or amped by grand stars during the events of both Galaxy games, one of those amped opponents being Bowser, who Mario consistently beats, with Bowser even in base being confirmed to be a threat to the Mushroom Kingdom. That being said, however, I want to talk about the black hole feats that a lot of people glaze at the end of Galaxy 1, since it's all but confirmed that Mario and Bowser do not scale to the full power of this black hole, since it's confirmed that Rosalina shielded Mario and Peach from the singularity, with Bowser being visibly knocked out and shaken from the experience, with it even being confirmed that he would have likely not escaped the black hole if Rosalina hadn't intervened. That being said, however, the reactor was stated by Bowser himself to be Galaxy level bare minimum, which a weakened Bowser was able to survive at point blank. So it's still pretty good scaling for Mario regardless who scales to Bowser. However, as you're going to find out pretty soon, this is all a massive lowball for Mario, since a lot of his best feats are within the Paper Mario series, which is confirmed to be canon on a couple of occasions, where in the first game, Mario was capable of beating Bowser when he was amped by the Star Rod, with this version of Bowser scaling above the Star Spirits, which are the guardians of the Dream Depot, with the Dream Depot capable of creating potentially an infinite amount of universes out of dreams. This would yield multiversal scaling for this amped version of Bowser, which Mario would scale to. For consistency, in Mario and Luigi Dream Team, the Plumbers were able to defeat Dreamy Bowser, a version of Bowser who was amped by the Dreamstone. Whilst this should also be casual multiversal scaling, it should also be taken with a pinch of salt. This is because the Dreamstone had lost its power and needed to be properly charged first by the dreams of people. Plumbers also very susceptible to the music that forced the residents to sleep, with it even being implied that they were amped in the final battle. Nevertheless, it should still be multiversal for Mario and Luigi. However, even this pales in comparison to what Mario has achieved in the other RPGs, such as scaling to Culex, a character described as being a master of time and space. However, even this pales in comparison to Mario's best scaling, where he was able to trade blows with Super Dimentio alongside Bowser and the other characters, with Super Dimentio being the combined power of Dimentio and Luigi, in addition to being amped by the Chaos Heart, a powerful instrument of destruction that could consume all universes and all existence in the Mario-verse. That being said, however, definitely doesn't scale to this. Not only was it a 3v1, however, they needed the Pure Hearts to counter the Chaos Heart, with the heroes being amped and Super Dimentio's invincibility being stripped away. Only then were they able to pull off a victory. Only then were they able to pull off a victory. And as for speed now, Mario should easily be immeasurable, considering the fact that he scales to Culex, a being who can see the past, present, and future simultaneously. Not to mention, he was stated to consume time itself and be a master of time and space. Phew, my Mario knowledge has certainly got better since last year. But now, it's time to look at Sonic the Hedgehog. Fans of the channel will know that Sonic scaling is nothing new to me, but I'll try bring a few new things to the table. There are a lot of people who downplay Sonic in 2026, and just like with Mario, he is casually universal and nothing lower than that. This is because individual Chaos Emeralds are confirmed to contain a universe of chaos, with them being conduits for power. And not only is Super Sonic amped by all 7 Chaos Emeralds, however, modern Sonic even in base can take on perfect chaos, an entity amped with the negative energy of all 7 emeralds that Super Sonic previously had to fight. A misconception within the power scaling community is that people are still unaware to this day that Sonic gets stronger with each passing game. If the perfect chaos example wasn't already sufficient, I have an entire YouTube short breaking down the many examples of Sonic getting stronger in the series, such as being able to speed blitz Silver the Hedgehog in Sonic Colors. This is consistent since even base Sonic can take down Eggman's greatest inventions, with the Egg Whitebird in Sonic 06 being described as his most terrifying invention yet, which would scale it above the Egg Salamander, which was stated to transcend dimensions and required Supersonic and Burning Blaze to take down. For consistency, the Egg Dragoon in Sonic Unleashed was described as being the pinnacle of the Mad Doctor's scientific inventions, which would scale the Egg Dragoon above the Egg Wizard, which was amped by the power of the star. which would scale this machine above the Precious Stone, which created and sustained the fifth-dimensional space known as Imaginary World, and required Supersonic and Burning Blaze to once again take it down. Yet Werewolf Sonic can take down the Egg Dragoon in Sonic Unleashed, and Base Sonic can take it down in Generations. This would suggest that Supersonic and even Base Sonic by the events of Sonic Generations was casually universal and potentially 5D, or multiversal. We're not done there, since in Sonic Forces things get even crazier. Infinite is a villain who was described by Dr. Eggman as being his greatest creation, with him being described as Sonic's most powerful threat in tie-in materials as well as the art books. This would scale Infinite above the cybernetically enhanced time meter that Eggman stated was capable of obliterating time and space, which is consistent with the feats, since Generations Classic and Modern Sonic were able to briefly outmaneuver the time meter, whereas Infinite was able to casually overpower every member of the strongest versions of the Resistance simultaneously, with both Sonics and the Avatar being able to later defeat the Death Egg robot, who was stated to have surpassed Infinite altogether. However, that's only going over what Base Sonic is capable of. What about Super Sonic? What's his greatest feats? Well, we've already discussed how weaker versions of Superforms scale above Eggman machines that scale above fifth-dimensional constructs. And this is consistent since in Sonic 06, the Super Hedgehogs were capable of combating Solaris, a character that was stated to be capable of consuming all existing timelines and causing the collapse of time itself. Contrary to popular belief, this was not a 3v1, as the Hedgehogs had to go to different places in time in order to combat Solaris, with Shadow in the past, Sonic in the present, and Silver in the future. And on top of that, each of the Hedgehogs scaled to Solaris' Phoenix form, which was confirmed to be even stronger than his base form. For consistency, once again, the director of Sonic Frontiers confirmed that the Titans were as powerful as the final bosses in previous Sonic games. Due to the power creep in the series and the fact that the Titans hilariously outmatch base Sonic, this would prove that the Titans are on par with the strongest threats in the verse, such as Solaris, the Time Eater, and Infinite.
When the end said it was infinite and that Sonic's past enemies were finite, was it being literal? If so, was it referring to its full power Sage mentioned? If it was full power, has Sonic fought it yet?
Let's be clear. Infinite was spelled with a small I. The end refers to itself as an endless, eternal being, not any connection to the jackal.
I don't think that's what they're asking. Said it was when the end said it was infinite and Sonic's past enemies were finite. Was it being literal? As in, is the end's power, or is the end actually infinite? Not infinite to the jackal, like the actual concept of infinite, the definition of the word infinite.
Oh, as in itself defies props. A little bit of that is godly gloat.
Well, yeah.
But more the idea that it was this timeless entity, something that didn't conform to normal mortal standards.
Letting us know. In the final boss of Sonic Frontiers, the end says that it's stronger than all the other gods Sonic has faced before. But is it aware that Mephiles killed Sonic? And did it know how powerful Solaris was? I know the events of 06 were erased from the timeline, but in the Japanese version of Team Sonic Racing, Sonic remembers 06, and it seems like a being that powerful would know of these events. What do you think?
That and the end has a degree of ego that, even if you can argue it isn't all powerful, it thinks it is. And it ain't going to have the wherewithal to self-reflect, especially since it's dead.
Despite this, base Sonic in Frontiers was capable of dodging their various attacks, and Super Sonic in this game was able to 1v1 the Titans and destroy them with relative ease, confirming that in raw power at least, Frontiers Super Sonic has casually surpassed Solaris. For consistency, the end looked into Sonic's memories and stated that it was infinite in comparison to everything that Sonic has faced in his life, which would once again include Solaris, because contrary to popular belief, Sonic is confirmed to remember the events of Sonic 06. Which would once again include Solaris, because contrary to popular belief, Sonic is confirmed to remember the events of Sonic 06. With Super Sonic able to survive many attacks from the end, and with his new enhanced super form in Final Horizons, he was able to eventually vanquish the end once and for all. As a result of this, Frontiers Super Sonic should be capable of bullying characters who scale to 5th dimensional or multiversal. Now moving on to Sonic's speed, now once again, just like Mario, he should casually be inaccessible to immeasurable. Basically, all of the important Sonic characters are capable of moving around white space, which is a realm devoid of time and space. Super Sonic scales to Solaris, who exists in the past, present, and future, and would annihilate the meaning of time itself, with weaker versions of Super Sonic being verbatimly stated to be capable of time traveling in their fight with the Time Eater. with Sonic in his higher forms able to blitz inaccessible to immeasurable characters. So for those people in the back who still don't think Sonic is even Lightspeed in 2026, please go back and refresh your arguments. So now moving into the conclusion as to how I see this fight going, I first want to say that this is a lot closer than people gave them credit for. Both characters have 5th dimensional scaling, and both characters have inaccessible to immeasurable speed. That being said, however, not only do I think Sonic's metas are more consistent, but I also think they're more valid. Let me explain. With Mario, all of his best feats and scaling are undermined by the fact that he usually has help or is amped by things outside of his traditional arsenal. With Dreamy Bowser, he has the assistance of Luigi, and he's also possibly amped. With Culex, it's a 3v1. With Culex, it's a 3v1. And with Super Dimentio, it was a 3v1, the heroes were all amped, and the villain had to be nerfed in order for them to pull off a victory. Now don't get me wrong, Sonic has needed help many times in the series as well. Don't think I'm trying to downplay Mario here. However, with Solaris, unlike Super Dimentio, it was a series of 1v1s happening simultaneously, with each of the hedgehogs not having to nerf Solaris, but instead they scaled to his stronger form. He got amped in phase 2 and they still pulled off a victory. In addition to this, due to the confirmed power creep within the series, you could honestly make the argument that Super Sonic, and even Base Sonic to lesser extents, have blatantly surpassed these 5th dimensional characters, and would comfortably be able to bully them in a 1v1 fight, which is something that Mario just hasn't demonstrated. And when looking at hacks and abilities, whilst Mario obviously has a wider variety of power-ups than Sonic, he just doesn't have the feats or scaling that Sonic has. And if you comp both characters, giving them access to literally everything they've ever had in the canon games, well, they honestly tie in terms of hacks. Like, it would be quicker to list the shit that these guys can't do. That's the reality of having over 35 years worth of games to their beloved franchises. Overall, Mario vs Sonic is a matchup that is actually pretty close on paper, but once you break down the various feats and examine them under scrutiny, being fair and objective with both sides, neither of these characters are perfect, and they definitely have a lot of help from time to time, but looking at them both side by side, I believe that Sonic is more impressive.